Hey guys, we already covered in one of my previous videos how to play Noire, but in this video it's time to take a look at what characters she synergizes with, why and how does she synergize so well with these characters, and how the entire rotation of her team will actually work. We're gonna take a look at characters that are available right now in version 2.5, so let's start off by taking a look at Anandi. So why does Anandi synergize so perfectly well with Noire? That is for multiple reasons, of course. First of all, she empowers incantations, which is very beneficial for herself, as her incantation number 2, Taoist Rune, if ranked up to level 3, would now inflict daze, which is a stun and makes it that the enemy cannot act. Good. Also, Noire has an incantation that highly profits from being ranked up. And the most important part here is her incantation number 1, Lily Nectar, because not only does it apply damage dealt plus 15% and damage taken minus 15%, but her Euphoria now also grants the effect to Lily Nectar that all of your allies, no matter who it is, after attacking randomly applies one of the following effects to the target. It applies debuffs to the target, and keep in mind that even characters that already apply debuffs by themselves, they would now apply additional debuffs to them. And also remember that Noire's ultimate damage increases the more debuffs are spread across the enemy team. So that is why Anandi is a very beneficial character to play together with Noire. Another very good character to take a look at is Loggerhead, for very simple reasons. First of all, she deals mental damage. Why that is important in just a second. And with everything that she does, she applies the exact debuffs that this team needs, which are Rigidity, Poison and Burn. That is perfect synergy. She would be a very great fit as a healer for the team. But you have to keep in mind that Loggerhead is only a 5-star, and it could turn out the way that the heal that she provides to the team would not be enough. So we add another character that acts as a substitute here. And that substitute comes in the form of Via. Via is already available in version 2.5. She has a banner right now, so no problem to obtain her here. Then she also, as I said, she's also a substitute when it comes to providing heal. She does that passively, and she even has an incantation that also does that. More importantly though, she supports the Moxie generation for Noire, which is pretty important for a character that excels at using the ultimate. So how does that work? When entering battle, she gains 1 Moxie. Cool. Now comes the mental damage part. That's why we play Loggerhead, as Loggerhead deals mental damage and Noire also deals mental damage. Why is that important? That is because for each mental damage ally on the team, Via gains an additional +1 Moxie, and she can gain a maximum of 2 additional Moxie. That way, Loggerhead +1 Moxie, Noire +1 Moxie, and herself gains 1 Moxie. That means Via starts the game off already with 3 Moxie generated. Why is that important? That is important because you can, in round 2, use her ultimate, which would put you into the Rosalka status. What does the Rosalka status do exactly? This Rosalka status grants you, at the start of the round, a precast incantation called Song of Inspiration. And what Song of Inspiration does is it grants Moxie +1 and Eureka +1 to a target ally at no AP cost. So that means every single round from turn 3 and onwards, Noire gets +1 Moxie every single turn. That is a tremendous advantage and really good, but it doesn't stop here. It gets better because Via has an incantation called Beating Heart that grants Song of Generosity, and this gets better when she's in the Rosalka status. So what does that mean? That means our crit rate is increased by 30% and the critical damage is increased by +40%. That is especially made perfectly for Noire. Why? Because Noire uses her ultimate multiple times, at least 2 times, and that leads to Noire profiting from this critical hit rate and critical damage increase twice, if not even sometimes 3 times, depending on either how lucky you get or how many portraits you have available. That is absolutely perfect. And remember, there's more, right? Remember, Ununli makes it so that your incantations gain rank ups. And not only does Ununli herself profit from these incantation rank ups, but also Noire does. And now Via makes it so that when attacking with a rank 1, 2, 3 incantation, you deal an additional damage. Rank 1 would deal 50% more, rank 2 120, rank 3 200. You see where this is going? You gain a tremendous amount of damage increase by ranking up your incantations, and Ununli does that. So those are all the good reasons why Via is such a perfect pairing with Noire and with Ununli, and fits perfectly even with Loggerhead, because now, thanks to Loggerhead, you have 2 characters in your team that deal the mental damage, and that makes it so that Via can actually do her job, because she starts with 3 Moxie and gets access to her ultimate, which grants her Rosalka, right? I think that's enough. You heard enough, so let's move on and take a look at how the actual rotations would go if you play this team in battle. The perfect turn 1 is actually very simple. You want to use 2 incantations with Via, because remember, she starts with 3 Moxie. You want to use 2 of her incantations on round 1, so that at round 2 you can already use her ultimate. And using 2 incantations with Noire is also very beneficial, because that's your main DPS. You have to generate Moxie as fast as possible. So there you go, that's already turn 1 covered. In round number 2, you want to then start off by using Via's ultimate. You want to apply the Lily Nectar with Ununli, and you want to attack with Noire. If you can't attack with Noire twice, then you simply apply beat debuffs using Loggerhead's incantation number 2. On turn number 3, you will now be able to use Noire's ultimate, but before you do that, remember, Song of Generosity ran out, so you have to reapply that to gain a whole lot of additional crit rate. Then you use Noire's ultimate, which will go nuts. And from here on out, you can adjust this a little bit. For example, before using your Noire's ultimate, you can apply additional debuffs to an enemy if that is necessary, because remember, the more you have a plethora of enemies, right? And each one of those enemies, it would be the best possible scenario for you to have each of your enemies with 5 debuffs applied. That would maximize the ultimate from Noire, the damage output that it does, by a whole lot. So you want to actually use attacks like incantation that deal damage to the enemy, to then apply these debuffs to the enemy thanks to Lily Nectar, and Loggerhead does that anyways. So attack with Ununli, attack with Loggerhead if you can, if you have to, before you use Noire's ultimate. So the ultimate would come in at the very last turn. You don't have to do that though. It depends on the situation and what incantation you have available to you. For example, you can, Song of Generosity, that is always first. You always apply the critical hit rate and critical damage buff from Via first, no matter what. But now you can straight out of the gate go with Noire's ultimate, and then keep attacking with Noire to already gain additional Moxie for the next turn moving on, right? As I said, like here it depends what do you have available to yourself. Either you go this route that is showcased right here, or the route that I showed before. Apply more debuffs to the enemy before you use Noire's ultimate to maximize your damage output, and there you go. Now Via will create an additional Moxie every single turn for Noire. Noire will gain herself additional Moxie because of her spotlight. That's 2 every turn, and if you keep attacking with her, she can reuse her ultimate like every other round. And that's about it, right? Additional infos is, don't forget to reapply the Lily Nectar. Always keep this Song of Generosity buff from Via alive. And this Taurus rune, can be used to apply additional debuffs to the enemy is mostly used on rank 3 to apply the stun, and whenever you have loggerheads and Annalise ultimate, you just you just use them basically, but the #1 priority is always the buff from Via and incantations for Noire to generate that Moxie to be able to use that ultimate. And that is simply how you play this team. It's not that difficult and pretty straightforward. You will get used to this very fast, and yeah, have fun with it. That's it for the video. If you like Reverse1999 content in general, please consider leaving a follow on my channel. I hope that was fun and informative. But until next time, have a great day, take care of yourselves, and we love this game.